Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to introduce you to Brad Barnes, Director of Consulting and Industry Programs here at the Culinary Institute of America, who will help us kick off today's session. Brad, take it away.
Thank you, Kelsey. Good to see everybody virtually. Welcome and thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time. We have some really exciting stuff to share with you. And I want to get started with it. So, per the Eat Lancet Commission summary report, food is the single strongest lever to optimize human health and environmental sustainability on Earth. It's a great statement. We're all food professionals, and that's good to hear. And I think we all know that. It's a very powerful statement, and one of the ways to think about the importance of plant-forward cookery. Strategy is also a great word and is the basis for the plan to operationalize the business of plant-forward cookery. For years, Menus of Change has reported on and guided the process of the transition of the food business. As a beacon to what's ahead, this important initiative has served as a thought leadership platform to help us all see what's next in food. It's been clear to some, but it's certainly been highlighted by this fantastic initiative. Next. It's one of my favorite infographics connected to Menus of Change. These principles are all a great way to think about how we might change our operations, what we might do, the way we might relook at what we do on a day-to-day basis. Ultimately, change architecture consists of three pillars: people, processes, and planning. This is a great way to think of plant forward. Certainly it is a style of cooking and eating, and of course it's all about great flavors and delicious products, and really shown in their simplistic and most integral form. All the nuts and seeds and those types of things are really, really beautiful. They bring flavors and they support all the global cookery that we're going to be able to integrate into these businesses. Perhaps this is the first line of the story. Next. That story is really outlined very well in the document of Plant Forward by the Numbers. It's a great piece. I know Greg shared it with everybody, urged you to take a look at it. I'm nudging again. It's really a great piece of information. It's about all these processes that are designed and structured to support change and, of course, fiduciary success. Operators are good at conceptualizing and structuring change. Where they need help is in the overall development of teams and ensuring that new practices, new ideas are sustainable and continually work and get reevaluated and then actually do what they were intended to do. At the CIA, we specialize in training. Training to goals and objectives, training people, processes, and planning with those as our guidelines. Today, we want to share with you a really special program, something we're very proud of, something designed by CIA and the team at Google, built on our groundbreaking ProChef platform, and coupled with our powerful in-person training, all aligned with the world-renowned ProChef certification program. Next. I want to take a minute to introduce a friend and colleague, Michael Bacher. He is a preeminent food professional and global food service leader. Please welcome Michael to the stage. He's going to give you some more info on this.
Thanks, Brad. It's good to have all of you on the screen, wherever you might be. The partnership between the food team at Google and the CAA is long-standing and is really built on a core understanding that actually present food systems are long-term not sustainable. There are a large number of issues that are not sustainable for both individual health and planetary health. And based on that, thinking through all of those elements, the food team at Google, looking at the next slide, continues to think through how might it act on its broader vision, which is not just to feed those who work in a Google environment on a daily basis, but really to think through how can we use our ecosystem to contribute to feeding the world responsibly as well as sustainably by using our two core assets, our Food at Work program leadership and our access to Alphabet's, Google's holding organization, unique ecosystem. So we want to contribute to becoming more plant forward. And the North Star for us continues to be, as you can see on the following slide, how might we shift individuals, including our workforce, to balance plant-forward diets? And this is not something that we started way yesterday or a year ago. This has truly been a long-term journey for us with all kinds of interesting learnings. Jane Black, a writer, has written a great story about that is actually publicly available. And it really tells our journey on the next slide of what we have done so far. And what started with, if you just give individuals more information, they will make better food choices. We have learned, I might say the hard way, it doesn't really work that way. So we've done all kinds of stuffs over the years, and we've shared that proudly, our failures, but more importantly, our successes as well. And as of today, we really are now acting upon our core belief that the key drivers of change are culinarians, those who are producing yummy, tasty food on a daily basis. On the next slide. With the Culinary Institute of America, we've been working now already almost for close to 2 years to think through how might we contribute to the amazing work done by the Culinary Institute of America to create a plant-forward culinary arts, education, and certification initiative. How might we help the industry to create actually a training program to help chefs to learn the skills, the expertise, and the insights to produce plant-forward dishes at scale? And that's really core key to us. We want to make sure that chefs and individuals cannot just cook yummy, balanced, plant-forward meals at home, but we can do it at scale as well, so we can really touch and influence many, many people. So I am so incredibly proud and excited about the work done with the Culinary Institute of America, as well as our great food services partners, Compass, Guggenheimer, as well as Off the Grid. But the core work has really been done over the last couple of years with the Culinary Institute of America. And Mark Erickson, the provost at the Institute, will walk us through what has been done and what can actually be expected next. Mark.
Today to talk about what we're building together, because it's quite exciting. So when Michael and the Google Food team came to the CI with a request to partner on building something that doesn't exist, we saw it both as an incredible challenge, but also an amazing opportunity. One of the most exciting parts is that Google's a powerful and globally aware partner with an incredibly highly regarded reputation for its food program, and has an incredible food footprint around the globe. So it was really a chance for us to sit back and really ask ourselves the questions: what if we went back to ground zero and were able to develop a training pathway for young cooks that prepared them for food needs, where it needs to be and where it's going, rather than looking backward to where food has been in the past, and using the techniques and the approach to teaching that has been handed down over the years. So thinking forward instead of backward. So this was an incredible opportunity for us. And so we wanted to build a program, obviously, that would be applicable to a variety of settings and would be global in its perspective, and especially meaningful to high volume environments, because ultimately it's in those volume environments that has the largest impact both on people's health overall as well as the environment. And so Google as an organization seeing into the future and being very pragmatic at the same time, we recognize this is a wonderful opportunity for us to build this program with an organization like Google. While we developed it to train and deliver outcomes, we also knew that it needed to explain why the principles were so important. So This goes to inspiring the learners to fully embrace the idea of balanced plant forward rather than simply how to apply it. Many of these individuals at the line level are folks that are in direct contact with the guests and with customers and the Googlers that work at Google, and the ability for them to not only deliver plant forward food in terms of being able to prepare it, but to be able to discuss it with their guests and to demonstrate the enthusiasm that they have rather than just the ability to prepare it. And so it really, it required us to see this as an opportunity to redefine the core culinary fundamentals and what they should be for a cook headed into the future. And so with this, it really was this bottom-up thinking of what culinary education can be and allow us to re-envision what the future might look like for cooks in the future. So we took it all the way back to the foundations. We began to explore questions such as, why do we cook? How does heat transform food? What are the sciences involved in developing great, delicious, craveable flavors that really draw attention to the flavors and outcomes themselves rather than just the art of preparing food? We began to look at the primary cooking techniques and to understand, things such as roast, grill, saute, even braise, where rather than using a meat-based protein as the central theme, to teach those techniques with vegetables as the primary ingredient, where we still use, in some cases, some meat-based proteins, but they play a supporting role rather than taking the center stage when it comes to not only preparing these foods, but teaching how to prepare these foods. And so it really becomes a twist on how we think about teaching education, because traditionally those techniques are always taught from a delivery where meat-based proteins are always the vehicle with which we display those and illustrate those. And so it really becomes a new framework for thinking. Another part of the framework that's involved in this program is thinking about how we teach and what are the hierarchies and what are the scaffoldings that are used to allow a young cook to learn how food is connected and how it all works together. And so as an example, even taking something that's a age-old tradition in the culinary arts world in an education and teaching young cooks the mother sauces. And traditionally, those mother sauces in the culinary world have been really built upon French culinary technique and French traditions, learning how to make espagnole and bechamel and those kinds of sauces. So in this program, we've had a chance to say, well, while those are fine and those are important to know, what are the mother sauces of today's kitchen and in the kitchens of the future that really bring out the wonderful flavors of plant-based foods? And so when it came to this, we decided to build a new framework for teaching sauce making, still thinking of them as mother sauces, but using different illustrations. So for instance, pesto genovese, an absolutely wonderful sauce made from pounded basil leaves and pine nuts and olive oil and garlic, makes an absolutely traditional, beautiful traditional sauce in and of itself, but also the technique can be taught as a platform for making a whole myriad of other pounded herb sauces with an incredible fresh flavor that really brings out those in essences that aren't found in other traditional French-based techniques. So using that as just one of a variety of other mother sauce platforms that we identified, things such as nuoc cham or aioli or raitas and chutneys and all kinds of wonderful ways to make sauce that are used around the globe rather than just in France. And so that's another part of this program. We also, throughout this entire program, really reinforced the concept of how important deliciousness is, because it's the ability for deliciousness to be a powerful factor in changing people's behaviors, where it leads with the taste rather than just the concept that it's better for you or it's better for the environment. While those are important, those probably aren't compelling enough to change behavior on its own. Whereas deliciousness is amazing how that platform of change moves people in ways that are more than just compelling for the virtue. It's really about the satisfaction that they receive. So with that, we then move on to sort of what are the core subjects of the curriculum. And so on the screen, you can see that, we break it down into nutrition science, in terms of why plant foods matters and those kinds of things, vegetables at scale, choice architecture, global cuisines and food systems. And really, these are the core subjects that we built this program on. It's also built on something else that we found to be critically important. That is that this program is designed to be not just to train young cooks as to how to prepare foods in a plant-forward environment, but also to build a learning environment in an organization. Because while we're delivering this content and information to young cooks, we're also training their supervisors, meaning sous chefs and line leaders, in techniques that help to build mutual trust between the learner and their supervisors. Very similar to something that we seem to have lost to some degree in our profession, which is this idea of the importance that the sharing of learning between a mentor and their master in almost an apprentice-like environment. And so with this program, we're also delivering content in parallel, slightly different, but reinforcing some of the same important concepts, but delivering it to the supervisors and the managers of young cooks, done in a way that's prepared and delivered both in video and internet-based delivery, but also residencies in which these individuals gather together and share unique perspectives and build camaraderie amongst themselves with regards to how they mentor and how they build excitement around this concept of plant forward. So while the young cooks are accessing this information, primarily delivered almost entirely on a platform that we're all very used to, something that we carry around in our pocket, which is a smart device. And so for the bulk of this program, for the level 1 learners, meaning the line cooks, the entire program is delivered to a very simple device. Pretty much everybody that works in kitchens these days has access to a smartphone, and the ability for us to be able to train them using a device that they carry in their pocket, using an incredible technology, is really a real transformation for us in what we're able to do. So on the screen, you're able to see just some quick screen grabs of what the content looks like. It's delivered, it's visually rich. It's not a lot of words or a lot of things that need to be read, because young people today like to be delivered in this format. The things render very beautifully on the screen. There's interactivity, so it's more than just sitting and listening, but it actually requires the learner to be engaged in the learning process itself. There's a tremendous learning science behind this, and all this is built on what's called our the Lobster Inc. platform, which is a global partner in hospitality training. They have helped us build this in a design that uses real learning science and psychometrics to make sure that the impact is delivered in a very efficient manner. And along with this, on the next slide, what you'll notice is that there's also the important part of this program is to make sure that the learner is engaged in a way that allows them to feel and actually visualize their growth. So on the next slide, what you'll notice is the content which is delivered in recipe format, and then ultimately there's assessments, and so the individuals are assessed with regards to their take up of the content that was delivered, and it also in the form of gamemanship, gamifying the experience for the young learners. It provides them with a score with regards to their assessment as to how they're learning. So the ability for them to engage in the content online, enhanced by discussions that are allowed to and made to take place between them and their supervisors, who are also going through this program together with them. We feel that this really turns the organization into a learning experience and a learning organization, which hopefully will transform our industry for the future. So we're quite excited about this, and with the power of the partnership between Google and the Culinary Institute, delivered on this platform of Lobster Inc., we think we've built a program that will be, we think, impactful for individuals and organizations and ultimately for our industry. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael.
Thanks, Mark. That was a great overview of what has been done so far. I think in today's time, the context of COVID-19, some of us might wonder should we pause with this until things are back to normal? I would say it's the opposite. I think especially now, there's such a clear link between health, well-being, food, and all of these elements. And therefore, the quicker we can get this done, the quicker we can get more chefs to be actually proficient in cooking and making wonderful, delicious and nutritious plant-forward dishes, the better it is. So our organization is even more committed today than ever before. And I truly hope that all of you are acting upon this opportunity as well. And I think with that, we're going to get Brett and Mark back as well.
It's really good stuff, and you're absolutely right, Michael. This is a fantastic opportunity. I think we're welcome to take questions now. If anybody wants to pop it up in the chat, that's great. I do have a question we could start with, and Mark or Michael, the one of the really groundbreaking pieces of this effort is the fact that it is, as you mentioned, Mark, and Michael, you referred to as well, it's readily accessible, and it's in a platform that people will automatically take to, which has been strengthened, frankly, by all the COVID things that have gone on since we're all working remotely. So what else do you feel is really important about that particular training platform?
For me, it is actually for it to be available to as many as possible, and it not just being available on an internal network, but how can you democratize the availability of great training materials? And I think this platform truly does that. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, Michael. This is just it's a great vehicle for us to invest in developing rich content that is delivered efficiently, and to be able to amortize that over many, many users. So the ability to impact lots of people with this program, I think, is it becomes very efficient and very effective.
Yeah, I would agree. Both those absolutely good perspectives. There is Anna Plana has put a question in, and I'll jump on this, and you gentlemen feel free to comment as well. Will this platform be available for university educators to also educate their hospitality students? And it is available in two forms. One is a single user subscription form, and the other is an enterprise-based form. A little down the road yet for the plant-based, but ProChef 1 is already in both those forms as well. Michael, Mark?
I'm going to leave this question for Mark, as it's truly a CIA training platform.
Yeah, well, we are very excited. We're excited about the fact that while it was originally conceived of as a proprietary program for the Google food team, the brilliance and leadership of Michael to recognize that this is important to be shared amongst the industry at all levels, both in the commercial sector as well as in the educational sector, we think is very, very important.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. It's Google has always been very forward-looking, forward-thinking when it comes to feeding people, which is of course what we're all working on. So how about, has it started yet? And can you take the course live and on campus? Mark, you want to get that one?
It is, we are about 90% complete with the program. For the level 1 learners, it's broken down into 4 units. As a part of that, units 1 and 2 are completed and are in the final stages of fine tuning and editing. About to be released, frankly, any day now. Units 3 and 4 are well along in their development and in the filming stages, and so we have approached this sort of as a build the track as the train is rolling approach, and we're about ready to blow the whistle and start the train. So Michael and his team are chomping at the bit to get started, and we are too. And as soon as it's been released to Google, then we'll be able to release it to the rest of the world.
That's great. Good stuff. So I think, Michael, as you look across your community, and you all have been great about investing in training and your culinarians and their career development, what are a couple of the bright spots or even road bumps that you've seen along the way?
I would focus on the opportunities. I think one of the things we are really focused on, one, is to make this training available for those who work in a at-scale production environment, because I do believe there is a distinction between cooking a la carte in a great restaurant and doing this in whether it's a corporate environment, education systems. So one, investing actually in something that works for specifically production at scale. The other opportunity is to really to think through, and how can you wave that into supporting the ongoing career growth of women in senior culinary roles. Because I think that's where we have a joint opportunity as well. So the magic would be, for me, is where you have and maintain amazing, brilliantly senior culinary female leaders who embrace plant-forward cooking as well. That will be this magical intersection. And I think that, we in our environment, with our great food services partners, the Compasses of the world, the Guggenheimers, the Off the Grids, continue to think through from what can we do more and what barriers can we remove in order to ultimately to keep women in senior culinary roles.
That's great. And just a little plug for my booth. We're going to be in the CIA Consulting booth, and today's topic, we're chatting with Daryl Schuler, another CMC, about how do we make training more accessible to the people that need it. And to your point, and what Google's done is a fantastic way of investing in people, period. So I think it's excellent. Mark, when you look at the power behind the information of this, and I know you have some really interesting thoughts on the idea of deliciousness, you brought that up for a minute, and I'd like you to just comment on that, because it's so important to this idea of whether it's adding umami or bringing depth of flavor, or the real magic of method and technique to plant cookery. Just go on that for a moment.
Yeah, it's funny because, this was, as I said, this was a chance for us to rethink what we teach and how we teach it. And the importance of deliciousness was central to this entire program. And so one of the things we decided to do is to really spend time having an in-depth sort of soul-searching discussion about what makes something delicious. And while we were looking at it, we recognized that, oftentimes we talk about taste, and taste wheels and flavor wheels, and those kinds of things. And what we've developed working with the Google team is a really unique analysis tool, which touches across 16 different components of a dish and measures the impact of each of those 16 factors. And then the result is a spider graph that allows you actually to visualize what flavor looks like, beyond just sweet, sour, salty, and those things, but bringing in umami factors and bringing in temperatures and textures and those kinds of things. And it's turned out to be an amazing tool to be able to take a look at a dish and determine, oh, maybe I should be thinking about something that has more texture on this dish, because you'll be able to actually see what it's lacking or what it has in terms of merit. So it's those are the kinds of things that this exercise, working with the Google Food team, has pushed us forward. And we're creating things that are de novo, that have never existed before in the culinary realm. So we're very excited about it.
Awesome. And I apologize for interrupting, but we are actually out of time. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for the great discussion today. And I look forward to hearing all about it as we move forward. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much again. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And the networking break is about to get underway, and we're excited to share this short presentation with details on all of the opportunities to network and engage with your colleagues during this upcoming break. We look forward to seeing you soon.